You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed-sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed-sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome to Bunch Formation, the newest college football podcast. My name is Chris Vannini, and I am ready to talk about this video game. Dave?
Finally. I am David Ubben, and I have played this game not anywhere close as much as I would like. Last year, I was on leave, Chris, so I could play a little bit more. Plus, we had like an infant and a still napping 2-year-old. Now we have a 3-year-old who does not nap anymore, and a 1-year-old who she'll nap, but just once. So all that to say, our review show is a little late, Chris, because we've been busy and have not been able to play as much as we would have liked before we could have a full review show.
Yes, it's why the episode was a little bit delayed. We want to make sure we got enough time, and you have played it quite a bit, and we know that because we just played a game before we started recording this. When you
2 games.
2 games.
Lenore Sellers and Kyron Drones dropping the hammer right now.
Yeah, did not go well for me. I was away for 4 or 5 days, so I had to get back into the swing of things, and I'm getting the back hang of that. I'll get you here in the future, but you guys know what this is. It's the review episode, EA Sports College Football 26. Again, we had to push this back. David had to get home. I had to get home. Then I was in Vegas.
Jobs outside of the podcast. That's sort of the podcast is like sort of connected to our jobs, kind of, but you know, we have our real jobs pay us much more than the podcast, so we generally focus our energies there.
Yes, but this is going to be a lot of fun. We talked about SEC Mountain West Media Days on the last episode on the feed. Go back and find that. We're going to go deep on this game, and we've got EA Sports College Football 26 production director Christian McLeod joining us later in the show to talk about the game, how they make the changes, how they react to the feedback, and what they do now that the game is out. That will be at the end of the show. You can check the timestamps in the show notes to jump ahead to anything you want to get to. Send us any emails for feedback to bunchformationpod@gmail.com and bunchformation everything else on Twitter. No 5-star reviews for this episode. We're getting right into the video game. So, Dave, like you said, your College Football 26 experience was different than 25. How do we feel about it? Overall, just general thoughts, favorite thing you might have so far?
I like it. I think it is smoother. I think you feel college football where the gap between the great players and the okay players is wide and talent shines.
Yes, I know
like
this
the
because
feel of it.
when we first played, I was Oklahoma. Second time we played, I was San Diego State, and I was like, ooh, big difference.
It's a different ball game. So I really like that. I think you could feel it a little bit last year. They even picked it up, I think, a little bit more this year. But if we're talking about just pure favorite thing, so this has been a problem on football games for almost ever. Is that for a lot of these games, the defenses play as a hive mind. I want good defensive AI. I don't want them to be like the Borg, okay? Where guys are running, like if you're running a crossing pattern or something, or there's routes that are crossing and you throw, you need to anticipate that a little bit to hit a window. And in old games, as soon as you released it, everyone on the defense magically knew the ball was out. That's not how football works. You see quarterbacks will whiz it by a linebacker's head quite a bit. I think that they have fixed this a little bit, where you can kind of anticipate holes, anticipate windows, throw, and unless it's a user lurking, which always is a risk. Chris, I may have had a couple picks on you doing this, but
Yes.
the computer is not going to lurk like that. They don't do that. They can't do that. That's not realistic. And so I like that. That changes the passing game. That changes kind of everything. And so I think the game plays smoother. It plays more realistic that way. And we had some concerns about quarterback accuracy coming off of the beta testing, which we didn't really get into. I feel like it's pretty realistic. Obviously, there's some drops which happen in college football that we didn't see last year. But overall, in my limited time kind of playing online, and granted, it's a little bit different because we're not up the ladder. I'm still on the first level. I haven't played a ton of games. But I do think that they've sort of, fixed the defense-offense balance a little bit where it feels more balanced. Whereas last year, playing online, certainly, playing against the computer in Dynasty, it seemed like a very offense-heavy game. I think it's kind of come
Yes.
back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I also think, not to be too long-winded a little bit here, but I also think that based on what I've played so far, and we've mentioned we'll do some check-ins as this goes along, it feels like ball knowers are going to have an advantage in this game in just being able to package plays together, utilize
Yes.
these playbooks, do all this stuff that feels like if you're just going to do kind of basic stuff or like cheese plays or all this stuff, like it's not going to work as well with the route commit stuff. There's a bunch of weapons that you have
Yeah.
to combat some of that. So I like that because, as I've said on the show many times, I'm about the chess match. You can only get so good at the game, and then it's about schematics and seeing the field. So
Yeah. And to that point, like our buddy Ari Wasserman played an actual college football player in a game and got destroyed because that it was a quarterback, I think, who knows football. So that worked out
there you
pretty
go.
well. I've got
Progressions.
my by the way, my written review of the game on The Athletic linked in the show description. I kind of approached it as, is it worth the upgrade? Is it worth a year later? And ultimately I decided yes, but it kind of depends what you like to do. So we'll get into that. My favorite thing is everything feels and looks smoother. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
the animations are a lot better. It
Yeah.
really looks a lot more realistic. The way guys get tackled, the way they fall, the way certain things happen. Um, Outside of glitches, which we'll get to, it
Mm-hmm.
does feel a lot smoother, which is what you want in the second edition of the game. So, with that, we'll start there. We'll start with gameplay. You mentioned it, quarterback accuracy. It's a little bit tougher. It's not as bad as it was in the beta, thankfully. They
Mm-hmm.
fixed that. But receivers come back to the ball more. There's less predictability. Maybe fewer drop balls when a guy gets hit, but also some unexpected catches on plays you wouldn't think would be a catch. It's less
Yeah.
predictable, less volatile, which I
Sounds
like.
like college football. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there were some impossible catches last year that just would not happen. They're happening in this game. And I think that's ultimately a good thing. My biggest thought on the takeaway there.
Yeah, I like
The
it. Again, I think it comes back to kind of what we were saying is that this game feels more like college football than last year's game, which already felt a lot like college football. And
Mhm.
that's sort of a amorphous essence that is hard to kind of nail down. But Madden, I've played Madden. I switched over. I haven't played since probably 22. It doesn't feel like college football. It's not college football. It's the NFL. It feels like the NFL. But I think that's a huge deal. And I like the playbooks as expected are robust. You could play with some teams last year.
almost too big, I think, in
Yeah, maybe
some
sometimes.
ways. Like if you're kind of a casual, like Oklahoma's got like 25 formations out of shotgun, I think. It takes me a
Mhm.
minute to get to the form. They only have shotgun. So like in order to get to the play I want to get to, it takes me 15 seconds to get there, which drains down the play clock. So that's a little bit
Mhm.
annoying. Um, Very robust though. I'm still working. I'm constantly in practice mode, going through the
Yeah.
playbook, finding
I
other
haven't built my
things.
playbook yet. It's going to be a little bit. I got to kind of figure out kind of what I like, what I want to be, all of that stuff. But I like it, and ultimately, it felt like last year there were teams you'd play with, and you'd be like, "I hate this playbook. Like this playbook sucks." Like
Yeah.
all of the veer and shoot stuff that we see that's really popular in college football. For me, it was like unplayable last year. That's just like not how I
Hmm.
play. And I would play I played a game with Tennessee. I played a game with I don't remember who else. And it's just like
South
I'm never
Florida
gonna play
was
with this.
USF
South
was
Florida. I'm like, I'm never gonna use. I hate this. Like in real life, it works, but in the game, I'm just like, the wide split sucks. It limits what you can do. And I've played with probably 7, 8 teams on this game so far, and every playbook you find stuff you're like, oh, okay. Like we just played. I had we're doing a dynasty with some friends, and I have drafted Virginia Tech. I never played with them, but I knew they had drones and they had some pretty good skill talent. I was like, we'll make it work. And I love their playbook. Like we played one game and I was like, oh, I like that. I like that. There's lots of pieces here. I like that. So I think when the playbooks are bigger, you're probably not going to be teams where you're just like, I'm never playing with this team again because their playbook's so bad.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, like Baylor was pretty fun to play with. Georgia Tech is very fun to play with. Haynes King is kind of like sneakily like really good in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Played around with as you were Virginia Tech. I drafted San Diego State in that dynasty. Played around with that playbook as well and found some things. It took a minute. Like it took a little bit to get through and find what I like and find what I don't like. But I'm enjoying that. So Penn State playbook is great, as we all know. I need to dive. I did a little bit. I need to dive more into the Rice playbook with all the option stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
think when it comes to running the ball in this game, it's in some ways harder, in some ways easier. Like if you execute the run properly with the blocks, you will get a big gain. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, sometimes in the last game, you could still do something to get a huge play out of it. And so it's kind of more, like you said, kind of a ball nowhere. You actually got to be pretty good at this game. I
Mm-hmm.
think the
And yeah, be able to read blocks and patience in the running game. It was kind of key last year. It's even more so this year. If you're hitting turbo as soon as you get the ball, it ain't gonna work for you. Sorry, that's not how this game works.
Some of the new stuff in here, substitutions and formation subs. Have you used any of that at all?
So I haven't gotten that deep into my dynasty where I'm trying to protect guys' health, like
Mm-hmm.
in blowouts. That's a huge deal. So I haven't done a ton of it. I haven't been using it a lot online or in the games that we've played. So I've kind of messed around a little bit with Dynasty, but I did some Road to Glory. I started a Dynasty that I wasn't that serious about. So I haven't really messed with I haven't felt the sub stuff that big of a deal. But also, like, it kind of depends on who you play with. Like last year, it was a complaint because I was playing with Kansas State, who had 2 very different running backs.
Yeah.
And I wanted to use them in very different ways. And unless, like, it was just not easy to get the right back that you wanted. It was very annoying. And a lot of times, just like, screw it. I'll just run with Giddens, or I'll put Edwards in this thing where I'm running between the tackles where I might not be able to. And yeah, I didn't want to make it to where it's a tell where I'm doing the same stuff over and over again. And if you know, oh, if Giddens is in, well, yeah, I should watch the run between the tackles. Or if Edwards is in, they're maybe running a screen or trying to get in the ball. But ultimately, it was hard to get the right back in. Now, it seems like I haven't really played with a lot of teams where that's the case, or where I'm trying to mess with their personnel. But I think as I get more into the game, and that might be a conversation for the check-ins of like, well, I want to do this thing. How easy is it to do that thing, basically?
Yeah, Dynasty. Yeah, I did a little bit in Dynasty, some formation subs, which I liked because I had a team had like basically the running back situation is kind of the only situation that I use the formation subs pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that is useful. Some of the other stuff that they've talked about, you got to look at the ball to get the interception. That seems to be a lot better. It's not perfect. I've seen people complaining, there are still guys not looking, but seeing a lot more kind of defensive swats on those plays rather than interceptions. If you're throwing an interception in this game, which I'm still doing, it's because of you, the quarterback, in the decision you make. Well, that's not true. We had that stupid Hail Mary situation between you and me in the earlier game where I went for a Hail Mary.
Good pass rush.
John Mateer gets hit and the ball kind of floats for a second at the line of scrimmage, and then a defensive lineman took it in for a touchdown as time expired. If you weren't already winning by a lot, I would have quit right there. But the second game we played, I got a better hang of it. And so that is nice. The online home field advantage, I like that. It's noticeable.
Online, it feels like it's maybe a little too hard. In the Dynasty, I would like it to be a meat grinder because that's kind of. But like online, you're playing half your games away and half your games at home. Also, the fact that they changed road to the CFP from 10 games to 12 games, I didn't know that. It makes a ton of sense why they would do that because 10 games is meaningless in college football. But I got through my 10 games and I was like, what are these games I'm playing? This is game 11. What are we talking about? Like, I literally was confused as to what I was supposed to be playing. And then I got to my 12th game and I was like, you made the playoff. It's like, yeah, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm currently in the lowest division. I'm like, whatever thing. I think I was like 9-3, but one game I won, but somebody got disconnected and it counted as a loss. I don't know. Anyway, but that would make some sense. I don't like the home field advantage is a little much online, I think, because I'd like honestly, if it was up to me, I think online should be neutral field, like no home field advantage. I think you should just be able to play all your games. But like half your games are
that's what they
home,
had,
half of them are on the road. So
Yeah.
I sort of get that. But also, that's not how college football works. You don't play half your
Yeah.
games on the road. You don't play half your games on the phone. So I get what they're going for. But for that environment, I would rather just have it be a test of pure skill rather than like, oh, I played my road game with whoever, Virginia Tech, and I got to go to Ohio State because this guy sucks and wants to play with Ohio State. And it's like that. I don't love that. So,
Yeah. I think I do like in Road to the CFP, I do like the player card beforehand to let you know kind of
I
what
like that a
somebody
lot.
likes to do.
Yes.
It's just like
You
a
have to
little
kind of
thing.
grade it on a curve because you can kind of get to people's tendencies. But generally, I have seen that like 60 pass, 40 run is kind of like baseline. And if people start straying from that, then I can be like, okay, I know how to play this guy a little bit. You got to kind of watch it, but you can get a sense of it. I love that player card, though. The total record. Like I said, I'm in recruit division right now, so that doesn't tell you that much because, if a guy is 4-1, he might be really good and he just got the game and hadn't had time to play like I do.
Yeah.
Or he might just, not be that. In recruit division, it's hard to say. But the tendencies is huge.
Yes, that is nice. And like it's not new, but like I continue to really like the Road to the CFP like build because as opposed to just getting matched up with a random person who may suddenly be really, really good. Like if you're not on that level, and you can tell because the first time around, it's a lot of people who hadn't played the game in a really long time, myself included. And you'd run into a lot of those people. I'm running into fewer of those people this time around because everybody played CFB25. I'm running into generally better quality opponent, which is what you would expect. But if you're those people will eventually move their way up, which is kind of the whole point. And I continue to like choosing different tiers of teams and who you want to match up with. So
that's a good system.
So you don't
still
play
hate the 3-minute
quarters,
quarters, but it is what it is. They're never.
It's I've come around on it because sometimes I'm like, I just want to get a quick game in and I don't want to do a huge. Maybe if you could like somehow like agree with the guy you're playing on how long to make it. I don't know. But there's that. So that is fun. Let's talk about some glitches. That was a problem.
Number one, the snapping ones and the ones that they fixed in the patch. I don't have that. That one is kind of weird. So the one that I'm seeing almost every time, I do a ton of stuff pre-snap on defense. My play art is huge. This is why I don't love playing people on the same system because I make a bunch of changes and I need to see my play art on defense. So if you play me on the same system, I'm not going to be as good because that's just how I play. Well, first of all, why did we change the QB contain button? That makes no sense. I'm annoyed with that.
That's not a glitch. To be fair, that's
not a glitch. It's a complaint. I don't like. It's the same thing. I still don't love that they switched the zone read keep button. I'm used to it mostly at this point, but I'm still annoyed by it. I don't know the QB contain. So if I do R1 like show blitz, and then I do my QB contain, I would say 85% of the time my zones look insane. It doesn't make any sense. It's clearly a glitch. Or I don't know what happened, and my guys are running over half the time. Like they just play the right coverages, but the art is messed up. But then sometimes guys are like running in opposite directions. I don't know what happened there. It's hard to tell, but they got to fix that. I don't know what I'm doing that's triggering this insane play art. But usually if I'm showing blitz, which a lot of times I do to bring a lot of bodies up to stop the run and then do QB contain if somebody's rolling out and shoot my ends, they got to fix it. That glitch is happening to me 85% of the time. I don't understand why that is, but that's the
The
number
the
one
most
for me.
the most common one I found comes after extra points. There's like a lag or a delay, and then sometimes I'm just in kicking an extra point without having selected the play. That happened to me quite a few times. And then I had one with you, speaking of play art, where I audibled a couple of things and I showed my play art, and then it got out of it, but it was still there. So like I'm back down at the quarterback, but two different kinds of play art are like covering the field. So it was very confusing on offense. So they have released some updates, and we do ask Christian McLeod on this episode at the end how they handle glitches and how they get
Mhm.
the feedback and kind of what they do with that. So anything else on gameplay? I like it. I think like you got to you got to put some work in, but it's pretty good.
No, I mean, I think that's the thing. All those glitches is pretty fixable, kind of dumb
Hmm.
stuff. It's not fundamental issues with the game. I mean, the Madden, the linebackers taking away being able to throw over the middle was like an issue so fundamental, along with the cheese plays, that I'm like, this is not fun. I'm not going to play this anymore.
Hmm.
And that we haven't seen that. None of these glitches are like foundational issues or
Yeah.
things where you're like, this game is broken. It's just probably something dumb in the code that they'll probably fix on a patch. Ultimately, the game itself, I'm with you, very fun. They improved the gameplay, the physics-based tackling. We talked a little bit on the beta show. We talked a little bit at the top. It's awesome. It's very, very different. It
You got
feels
to be
completely
good at
different from
tackling.
last year's. You
You
do.
got to know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little bit
And I
different.
think it also opens up the door for guys that are good on the sticks, like tackling. So tackling in the open field last year was frustrating because people would take really bad angles. But now, if you're just good at anticipating and using the sticks without necessarily doing like a juke move or a stiff arm or anything, if you're just good on anticipating that and hitting holes and maybe slowing up, you can get, hey, I'm in the secondary. I'm a receiver. I got three guys to beat, and I beat two of them and outrun the other one for a touchdown. That's college football. You see that all the time with really good players. So I like that. I may have done that to you once, Chris, with
You did.
receiver, but I've seen
And
it a lot. And I didn't
yeah.
see it as much last year because last year they didn't have the physics-based tackling. And if you just if I'm in the secondary, I'm usually hitting X, the safe tackle, and you'd kind of get the tackle animation to kind of glom onto them, which was the way to play the game last year if you had to make a safe tackle, but that's not that realistic. It's hard to tackle people in the open field. And somehow, even though it was really hard last year for different reasons, it's maybe even harder this year.
Yeah. But also like spin moves and jukes and stuff, not as effective as they
No, they
were
don't work very well.
last year. Because remember,
They
Quinshon
fixed the
Judkins' spin
overpowered
move was,
stiff arm, which might have
yeah,
been, I don't know what was happening with that. I
yeah,
saw it a little
which is
bit.
good.
I've seen clips online, but I didn't really experience it because I didn't use the stiff arm a lot last year. But
Hmm.
yeah, the moves are not that effective this year. It's a lot more like just skill with the stick, which I like.
Yeah.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
All right, let's talk Dynasty mode. My takeaway from Dynasty so far is that you better get your settings right, or you're gonna have a bad time. The portal is crazy,
I've seen a
especially if
lot
you're.
of complaining about the portal.
But you can set how big the portal is. You can set
Mhm.
max per team per your team and how big the portal goes. you need to keep an eye on that, because if you're a G5 team, you're going to lose like 50 guys in an off season. And so you got to be prepared. Get that right at the beginning. CPU recruiting. If you don't recruit, make sure you turn that on, because it will not go automatically. Because I simmed a couple seasons right off the bat when I got the game with Michigan State just to see where it went. And it didn't add any recruits for me in the first year. I had 49 players in my second season at
That sounds
Michigan
like
State.
Kansas 2010 right there.
Yeah, and because you can only add 35 in a year, you can't build it back up. So my first thing with Dynasty, make sure you get the settings right. Early thoughts on Dynasty from you?
Yeah, I've seen that. I think I'm curious to really get through it in a functional way and see how that plays out. But ultimately, it seems a lot deeper. You know, I mentioned that I think that the real coaches is going to add a lot. In a lot of ways, we're going to talk about Road to Glory. I feel like it added a little bit there. But seeing them in the game, all that stuff, you don't. If you're going to have all the coaches in there, I feel like there needs to be more coach cutscenes in online games or just play now games. I haven't seen a ton, but I would like to see a coach cutscene twice a drive, honestly.
Yeah.
For one, it'd be funny,
but
for two, it's like
stuff in the fans.
Yeah, for
I'd love
one,
to see the coach.
it's funny and it's like illustrative of sort of immersion in the world. But two, you've got all these coaches for the first time, so let's utilize them. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of the real coaches, the coaching carousel also out of control. Very funny, but also like not realistic in a way that it doesn't really necessarily impact you, but it's noticeable. So like one of mine, Joey McGuire, has a top 10 season at Texas Tech. He takes the defensive coordinator job at Alabama to coach under Dabo Swinney, who left Clemson for Alabama because Kalen DeBoer got fired. You know who took the Clemson job? Shane Beamer, who was en route to winning a national championship at South Carolina. They're in like the quarterfinals or the semis, and he takes the Clemson job, ends up winning the national championship, and he's on the way
Yeah,
out.
let's
Like,
dial it back. Let's dial it back,
it's
EA. Come on
it's
now.
like, well, like that's again where it's like, and we talked to Christian about this in the interview again later as well. It's like, how much do you balance like true realism versus like what's just kind of fun? Because like playing an actual game is not totally, in terms of number of drives and plays and all that stuff, it isn't actually realistic. It's supposed to be fun. And if I'm doing a Michigan State dynasty, do I really care who the coach at South Carolina is or what he does? No. But when it's real coaches, it starts to get interesting. We've seen stuff. We've seen Ryan Day take the Michigan job.
Yeah.
Steve Sarkisian went somewhere. So that was interesting. Position switches was a problem, but I believe like today or yesterday they have updated that in a glitch, in a patch update, where if you kind of move positions, guys are kind of capped at how far they could go, so that creates kind of a problem. That should be fixed. The recruiting, which I know you don't do a lot of, I am enjoying it a bit more, and it's the local recruiting helps. It costs less money to get a guy, and I haven't done a lot of sways. Like they've really emphasized the sways. EA Sports, I don't really kind of get that deep into it, but I find it to be a bit more open, which I like. And trophy room is great. I'm already racking up the trophies, putting those in. I love the history. You click on a trophy and you can see everybody who's ever won it, even if you win it like in the future. That is really cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, Dynasty and head to head is kind of where you and I make most of our bread, right?
Yeah, those are I play Road to Glory a little bit. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, I'll do online. I did a little bit more Dynasty last year because, quite frankly, like our girls could not always stay asleep, and if I went online and they woke up and I needed to go tend to them, I'm just taking a loss online. I didn't want to risk that. So I was playing, depending on whose responsibility it was, I was kind of splitting my time between, okay, if my wife's going to handle it right now, you know, she's sort of on call, then I'm going to take, I'll play some online games. If it's on me, I'm going to play Dynasty. So I actually got a pretty good balance last year. I think I got into like year 5 or 6 of my Dynasty, and I don't recruit, but I play every game. I play every snap of every game. So I enjoyed it. I'm excited to kind of dive more into the Dynasty and experiencing it in a real way. We've got a couple cross-play Dynasties that we're going to play that are getting ready to get started up here. I probably will have one maybe on my own. I don't know. I'm committing. I'm overcommitting here on how much.
Yeah,
play,
you don't want to commit to too many Dynasties.
Yeah, but ultimately, I will experience Dynasty in a deeper way than I have so far, and I'm excited to that. And we'll have some check-ins as we go along. So
yeah, we'll do a couple. We'll do more of these every month or so, kind of a check-in on the game, what's new, what's updated, what we like, what we don't like, because we didn't really do that last year, and the game did change throughout the year, so we kind of want to monitor that a bit more. One of the things I'm wondering if they will change is the amount of rain games we're playing in.
Please fix the rain. It's too much. It was a problem. It was a problem in. Listen, the very first game I booted up in beta, I went into Dynasty. I'm playing at Arizona State in an actual desert, and it is pouring rain the first game. I'm like, how many rain games has Arizona State played in 25 years? Like 2? Come on now, y'all. If we're gonna get dynamic lighting, can we not get dynamic weather? Okay, just legitimately, you could already kind of do it. If you're playing at Florida State, you're not going to be playing snow games. If you play at Wisconsin, you're probably going to get a snow game every now and then. Well, it doesn't seem that hard. If you're in the desert, you're not going to play very many rain games. If you're playing Washington, if you play 8 games out of the year that are rain games, well, that's part of being the Washington coach. So, fix this, EA. That seems easy. Fix it.
Yes. Too much rain. Surely they can turn that dial down a little bit. But actually, speaking of that, though, dynamic lighting, I really like it. I know you don't care. Again,
I don't notice it. I'm sorry. I don't notice it.
You keep picking night games for us to play.
I do keep picking night games. I've played some daytime. I've played the daytime and the afternoon games. I'm locked in, man. I'm locked in. I'm not out here looking at the San Gabriels. I'm locked into the game.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying that as well. We talked to Christian about the dynamic lighting.
If I want to see a sunset, you know what I do, Chris?
What do you do?
Out on my back porch and I go look and I go, oh, the sun. I don't need a video game to show me a sunset. I'm just saying.
Not as good in Knoxville as it is in Pasadena. Road to Glory. I love this. I think this is a heck of a lot of fun. So obviously last year, CFB25, no high school mode. Still like an okay version of it. I didn't love it, but there was enough going on. They've added high school mode, and I love it. I find myself, I've actually gone back to it a couple of times. In high school, you play 5 games. You have 4 goals you got to hit on a drive per game, and coaches can sometimes say, "Hey, Ryan Day's like, hey, I want you to hit a 50-yard pass. That's one of your goals."
And so it's hard. The challenges are hard. I liked playing the full games in 14, but I thought the moments thing, well, I wouldn't have chosen it that way. The way that they did it was very fun.
Yes. It's not overly time consuming. That was kind of my problem with the old NCAA games. So like if I want to do high school mode, it's like a lot of work. So, but like there's like fun stuff in like, so I was a 5-star recruit. Ryan Day messages me that he's mad that I have Ohio State behind Michigan State on my list. He's like, look, just saying, they got nothing on our program, basically. Like, why are you considering them? Talking some trash about Michigan State. And you have the option to respond and do a couple of things. And I responded with a social media post about how I'm not going to Ohio State. And that boosts my my rating with the other schools, which I liked. That was fun. But it's very hard to stay a 5-star recruit.
Yeah.
Like I was generally getting all of my goals and still dropping a little bit. And then I fell down to a 3-star. And then my senior day game, my last goal, I get a touchdown. It says I move up to a 4-star in the game. But then when I get back to the menu, I'm still a 3-star. So I don't know what happened there, but I went from the number
Call
3.
Up rivals, yell at them.
I went from the number 3 ranked quarterback, number 3 to 96th, despite hitting like the vast majority of my goals. So that is pretty hard, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And then you get to college. It's a little bit better overall in terms of, like, I know you hated it last year with the playbooks and what the coaches are calling.
Well, I found out. So 2 things. One, the hat ceremony, incredible on Road to Glory. I can't believe it took us this long, like, to have hat shenanigans. Like, that was so good. So if you haven't played the Road to Glory mode, you get to your commitment ceremony, and you can put your hand over whatever hat and do like a fake out. You can throw the hat. You can commit on the spot. Keep it straightforward. I don't know that there were consequences for any of those things that I did. Whereas, especially now in the portal era, You can't be disrespecting schools on your commitment. Like that is
I mean, they
looking.
do still though.
I know they do, but in the old days, it was kind of like, well, don't do that, but whatever. Now there's like a real cost to it. But like I could see like, oh, if you disrespect a school, like I'd like to see them add like, well, then they won't like if you want to transfer, like they won't let you transfer there, basically, like in the future.
Yeah, I should have tried to transfer to Ohio State after what I said to Ryan Day. I don't know. I'm curious how that would have gone. It would have been interesting.
I'm
But
only
like,
halfway through. I get frustrated with Road to Glory because I use it to I usually start with Road to Glory to just sort of get back into playing the position, reading the field,
mhm.
seeing all those things. But it gets frustrating when like after the catch, like my receivers can't really make plays. And then like I generally am starting to neglect the run game because I just want to throw because I don't want to hand it off. And then, but this year, if you run no huddle, inexplicably, it opens up the entire playbook. And then when you run slow, you have your 2 plays to pick from. I'm
Mhm.
still a freshman. I ended up going to Syracuse, but I figured I didn't really like playing games indoors. Ironically, actually, as much as I don't care about dynamic lighting. So, sorry, Coach Brown, I am going to be transferring after the season at Syracuse. We'll see where I go. But ultimately, that doesn't really make sense that if you run no huddle, then you have access to the entire playbook. It should literally be the opposite. You would have access to the whole playbook. And if you run no huddle, if you only have 2 plays from the huddle, I feel like if you run no huddle, you should only be able to run the play you just ran with you can't do hot routes
Mhm.
or anything like that. That's what it should be, but it doesn't really make sense. So you can sort of hack, you know, opening up your playbook, but it gets frustrating for me because again, I'm a chess match guy and you can't really play that chess match if I have
Right.
2 plays to choose from. And again, and a lot of times it's like the same like coach suggestions. You're running the same like 8 plays all game. And you're like, I
Look,
hate
that's
this so
real.
much.
Sometimes there's good
I
players
know
with
it's
bad
real.
coaches.
I get it. I don't disagree with it, but it just like as a playing experience, my tolerance for Road to Glory runs out quickly, and then I'm like, just get me to Dynasty so I can actually run this
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah. I honestly, when I do it, I do less of the actual playing. I just kind of speed through that and do some of the fun stuff, like the choose your own adventure aspect of it. What happens
yeah,
if I respond to this?
I'd like to
Like I
see
just kind of
some trees of how that goes.
Yeah, I just kind of have some fun with it. So I graded Road to Glory a B minus last year. I gave it a B plus this year. Dynasty was B plus last year, A minus this year.
Some of the
Uh,
stuff they
s-
added, like I did, uh, something happened with the prom. I was supposed to, you had to decide how to ask a girl to the prom, and I didn't do what I actually would do. I did a flash mob or something like that, and it lost a ton of points because it was like the cringe factor was off the charts, and you were getting clowned online. It was very funny. I was like, "That's great."
yeah,
Oh
yeah. So that's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. Like it's not going to be like your main thing probably, but
no,
like you want to do something a little bit different, but still play the game. That it's fun, and that's kind of one of my big takeaways is that this is so much video game.
hmm
Like there's so many different things you can do. Like you can be a dynasty person, you could be an ultimate team person, and you never like cross paths like in that type of way, or maybe you're just road to glory, get into Madden superstar mode kind of person, or maybe you're just online play and you never get into dynasty. So like as I thought about it, like kind of the future of the game is like how much more can you do? And we asked Christian that afterward, but like you do worry maybe if they try to go too far, you kind of break the game like Madden does, like
Well,
Madden did.
bring back drill battles. So do you remember on NCAA '06 the Heisman or the Desmond Howard Heisman one?
Yeah,
You could do like pass skeleton against your friend or option attack against your friend.
yeah.
The mini games are very fun if you go play them, like the
But
training games.
you can't play somebody.
Yeah, exactly. You should be able to. That I had a ton of fun on '06, just like playing guys, 1v1. I think most of the time it was like they had a turn and then you had a turn. I don't think you were defending Pascal, but I honestly don't remember.
Yeah,
Either way, I remember it was extremely fun, and they had
yeah,
the weird soundtrack and all that stuff. Bring that back. Why are we
yeah.
missing that in the game?
My brother was in town last weekend and I wanted to do that. And I pulled it open and I realized, oh, wait, you can't actually do head to head in minigames. So it's like a little thing like
You could
like
take turns
horse.
on like the
Like
gauntlet.
I
and
miss horse.
see who
Did
can
you ever
get
do the
further,
field
but,
goal horse back in the day, where you could set the kick?
I think that sounds
You
vaguely
could
familiar.
set the kick all the way to the sideline. Like you could kick from there, and you'd play horse with somebody. So that was a fun mini game. Like again, it's like just like little things like that you can bring back. I think that would be pretty
People got
fun.
mad when I
So
said I missed the mascot game. By the way, I was getting roasted for that.
I do too. Like mascot is like a thing you do. It's like a party trick. Like, but it's a party trick you do pull out
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the presentation of the game.
Mhm.
No more nonstop drumline. Thank you.
We'd like to see more songs, honestly. They
I'd
only
like
have,
to
like,
see
12.
more songs. Yes. We are kind of rotating through them pretty quickly. I do like that it
Mhm.
tells you what it is. I do like that you can change it and do
Mhm.
that stuff, but I would just love to have more of them, frankly.
Mhm.
So a step up.
I don't know how that
Um,
works or how expensive that is, but same good vibes on the menu screens, but more songs, and also like less contemporary songs, like these like songs on the radio, the marching band versions, which
It's
I
what the
guess were
kids want,
Cincinnati's.
man.
I'm getting less and less tolerant of the kids. I gotta tell you, like the kids are not all right. I'm losing patience with the kids. So I get it,
Uh,
but like, do the actual songs that they play in stadium. Like, do that. Like,
well, we've got
nobody's
more of that.
playing. There's
We've got
more, yes, but like
we
nobody's
got
playing freaking.
Sandstorm.
Nobody's playing Post Malone in stadiums. That's like that's not a thing. Like, play something that like we're not getting friggin' Shabuzi tipsy in stadiums. We're just not getting that. So can we do
I think you do.
maybe? Well,
Maybe
if you
you
do, they
definitely do.
shouldn't. Either way,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be encouraging this. Okay, we should be getting this out of the game.
But like Enter Sandman is fun.
Yeah,
The Mr. Brightside thing, the Penn State Whiteout, Zombie Nation, the
Mr. Brightside, by the way,
Sandstorm.
worst tradition in college football. Just for the record.
It's not great, and
It's not good.
It's too generic. But the presentation last year was fantastic. It so much feels like college football.
Yeah.
And they've added more mascots, more motions, and stuff like that. Like just down to down, it still feels like college football.
Mhm.
That was great. Speaking on the real coaches thing, on that point, a lot of the coaches look bad. They just do.
Well, I mean, I think there should. I don't know how you do it. Getting ahead of it. I mean, maybe you send somebody to campuses. I don't know how long
You got to have the machine.
mocap takes. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how long mocap takes or how mobile that operation could be. But if I'm a coach and I care about being on this game, it's weird to me that you would not want to have a accurate depiction of yourself. So I feel like if they should give coaches the option of, okay, you can be in the game and you can have mocap in the game. I would like to have those options. Also, in Road to Glory, Chris, you can see the schools and the coaches. And I went through and made the list of the coaches who are not in the game. Would you like me to read the list of the coaches?
I know one of them, and I talked to him about it this week. Yes, tell me who it is.
I'm going to talk to a couple coaches about it also. Here's the full list. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, not in the game. Deion Sanders and Bill Belichick, obviously. I think we knew those were coming. Mario Cristobal, not in the game.
While I think some Miami assistants are.
That's weird. That's weird. Tyson Helton, Western Kentucky, not in the game. Charles Kelly, Jacksonville State, not in the game. I'm familiar with Charles a little bit. I can't say that's surprising. Kent State's interim coach, Carney. Is it Mark Carney?
Mark Carney,
I forget his name.
The Prime Minister of Canada.
That's a weird situation. I'm gonna know. That was a late thing. I don't know what happened there. I'm not gonna put any skin on that. Jason Eck at New Mexico. Now that's
real quick
on the game.
So Jason Eck is the one I talked to at Mountain West Media Days.
What did he say?
He said he never got the email. EA
he
Sports
probably did get the email. I think he just missed it.
EA Sports had been sending it to a staffer who was no longer at New Mexico.
Oh,
and so once it came out and they knew it was, wait a minute, I'm not in the game, they connected with EA Sports. They fixed it. He will be in the next update whenever that comes.
Okay, good. Congratulations to New Mexico. That's interesting because I will ask some of these coaches. Bronco Mendenhall at Utah State, not in the game.
That one's not a surprise, I don't think.
Why? Just
no nonsense. Seems like he wouldn't. He just seems like he wouldn't. I should have asked him.
All right. Bryant Vincent, who we are fans of at Louisiana Monroe, not in the game. And I missed this my first time around. This one shocked me. Trent Dilfer at UAB not in the game? What?
I mean,
That's
like
crazy.
former NFL player, NFL PA type of guy.
He
Like,
was
I
on
don't know.
TV for like 15 years. I mean, he's like a very
Right.
like outside of the most famous coaches that are on the game, he's probably number 3, right?
Yeah. I would bet a lot of those G5s who make no sense. I'm guessing a similar situation to Jason Eck where they just
Could be.
didn't get to him. So we'll see.
I mean,
It's
call
not the
us.
most
It's not
important
hard to
thing.
get a hold of these coaches. Like you can, like that's crazy to me that you're EA for something that's not like that important, but it's kind of important. And also, they would probably like it, most of them. And I do think, am I crazy, Chris, for thinking that this is going to be like kind of a recruiting thing moving forward? Like you have to be in the game. I think this will kind of be
Yes,
kind of
but
a
now
big deal
that
for
but
people.
now that everybody is, I don't know if it's that big of a deal anymore.
I think it's weird if you're not.
Yes. Yeah. For the handful that aren't, it's a little bit weird. Also, on that note, I saw Kentucky put out a funny video. So there's one player in the game. I think he has 0 toughness.
Yeah, the punter. I saw this.
The
Yeah,
punter at Kentucky, and Kentucky
Yeah.
put out a video with the punter basically doing the Happy Gilmore, lining up in front of the jugs machine to take hits.
So good.
That was funny. That was a great reaction to that. So props to Kentucky. For
Yeah,
that.
but I think it's coaches. You got to be in the game. If you're a coordinator, if you're a head coach, there is real value in the game, especially when like kids are playing Road to Glory and you're being recruited. Just the fact that like you got kids that are 12 now that are going to be good players later. Just that they recognize your name. Oh, you were at Oklahoma, or oh, you were wherever. Like I think there's real value in that. I don't think that's like overly. I don't think that's over emphasizing it.
I do think I do think larger though. College football being back in the culture because of the video game is very important. It was very important last year. You had 11 years, a generation of kids pretty much grew up not having a connection to college football because they do not have the video game. There's a video game podcast that I listen to, and on the most recent episode, they talk about college football 26. Like they're not like big football people either. So like that is why it's so important to have this game back and everything. Couple other
Also,
things here.
I don't think Belichick will ever be on the game because for obviously the man stuff. Pay Dion whatever he wants to be on the game. You got to have Dion on this game. Come on, guys. Come on.
I don't know.
If it's under 7 digits, you probably should pay him whatever he wants.
You saying EA Sports is on that bull junk?
They might be on that bull junk. Listen, who among us? Has not at one point in their life been on that bull junk, but EA right now.
You know what? I should get that as a drop for the show when Dion said that at Media Days to you. That would be pretty good. Anytime you have a take or something I don't like, I'm going to say that. So
for the record, he did say the Athletic was sometimes on his bull junk, not constantly. So hey,
just sometimes. Ultimate Team, like we mentioned, I haven't played it a ton.
I never have. I never will. I don't.
But I fully acknowledge this is how the kids play the game. Like us older guys are the ones who play Dynasty. They play
people.
Ultimate Team, and like it's just kind of how like it's not just there for microtransactions to steal money from kids. Like the numbers of Ultimate Team players they had last year far exceeded what they thought they were going to have. Like it's just a way people like game. It's also how you get a lot of the legends in the game. Like I think Johnny Manziel might be in it. Like you see a lot of those people popping up. Some of the guys we remember at the end of the podcast. That's because you can't, get a full historic team, but you can get an individual player and you use them in Ultimate Team, which is I understand it's kind of a cool way, but it's not my thing. Team Builder, like I've tried Team Builder several times and I cannot get it to work. I know it was very buggy last year, but even this year it's having some issues in Chrome and stuff like that. So I need to continue to work on it, and maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode, but it's been very, very buggy for me every single time that I've tried to do it. So
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember the outlet that did this. So when we were at Big 12 Media Days, we weren't doing a lot of like the fun social stuff. We were doing like, some actual journalism and just like interviewing people. But I did see, I feel bad that I don't remember who did this, but they were pulling out photos of all the old video games and asking the players, who is this cover athlete? It didn't go great.
I didn't see that.
I don't remember who did it. We could probably search it and find it. But like, people forget like Chris Winkie was on a cover, back in, I think he was the 03 cover
That's a hard
Harrington.
one. That's admittedly.
I know it's a hard one, but I'm just saying.
I know he like the Heisman and everything, but it's like one of those
through
players.
Yes, but there's a bunch of guys. We had some guy. I saw one guy, I believe, get Sean Alexander on 2001 on like PC. So hey,
yeah, I have that game.
That's a throwback.
On PlayStation 1. Yeah, but like to that point, like they don't know who those people were. There's no connection to college football. That's why it's good to have the video game. So
it's crazy that there's guys playing college football that were born in like 2003, like before we were playing the video. That's
earlier than that, later than 2003.
I'm sure much later. Yeah, you're
talking
like
true. Probably like 06, 07 kids at this point. That's when we got into college. Oh no. So great. Overall, I give this an A- of a game, up from a B+ of last year. Is it worth buying? Is it worth the upgrade from 25? Depends what you do. Mm-hmm. If you're online play, yes, obviously you kind of have to.
You have to.
If you like Road to Glory, yes, obviously you have to. Dynasty, I don't know. If you just play this game by yourself and you just do Dynasty mode, really all you're getting is the updated rosters, which are irrelevant 1 year later anyway.
And the coaches, if you care.
And the coaches, if you care. I don't think anybody's buying it for the coaches. But overall, much improved, minorly improved game, but they filled the biggest holes from 25. Ubben, if you had to grade this game, what would you give it?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'm a mark for this game. So
but you got to give it some. It can't always be an A+ every year. That's the thing.
I would say A last year, A this year. I don't know. I mean, for me, like the grade is like, what level of enjoyment am I getting out of playing this game?
Yeah.
Okay, and so like it's pretty much an A. Like I loved playing last year's game. I was not sick of it. It's not the game that I get tired of. For me, I have this. My wife makes fun of me for it, but like as the calendar goes, so goes kind of my game playing. So. Like after football season, like I was transitioning, I was playing a lot of PGA 2K, like when we got into like golf major season, basically. When the game comes out, I've shifted back into playing football, but I did go a couple months where I just didn't play it, not because of the game, but just because of that. I don't know how my brain works in that way, but that's just kind of what I do. But I loved playing that game. I didn't get sick of it last year. And I'm enjoying this one, even more. I think the crossplay dynasties are going to be pretty fun being able to do that. So, again, I don't take my grades for anything, but I would have said A last year and probably A this year. So if I were me just talking about, I'll talk insights. I'll talk what I think about certain things within the game, but as a grade, it's very hard for me to grade it because again, I see this game as a utility, not as like I'm going to get this game regardless. I'm going to play this game. And unless there's things about it that are like foundationally wrong, I'm going to play it and enjoy it because I like college football. So
I got to step up my game because you and I were playing pretty even games last year, and we've played a couple times so far, and you have been boat racing me. So I'll be home for the next week plus. Now I'm not traveling for about 10 days. Then I'm going to go to Europe, and I'm going to fall behind again. But I got to work on it. We'll keep playing. We'll keep playing with our buds. We'll give you guys some updates on the game as well as we go along. But before we wrap up, we've got our interview with Christian McLeod, production director, EA Sports College Football 26. So let's get to that. Christian McLeod, joining the bunch.
You just realized that you needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people that you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Well, in the minute I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Just go to Indeed.com/BWN right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
All right, and we are happy to welcome to the show Christian McLeod, production director for EA Sports College Football. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you see his Michigan State flag in the background. When I visited EA Sports 2 years ago, I learned that not only did Christian and I both go to Michigan State, we also went to the same high school. Not only did we go to the same high school, we went to the same middle school. So small world and all that. So Derby Middle School, Seaholm High School alum Christian McLeod, welcome to the show. Welcome to the bunch.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It is an honor to be here.
Yeah, so College Football 26 is out after a long process, obviously, to bring back the second edition of the game. The first game, doorbusters, broke all kinds of records, all kinds of stuff like that. What were the biggest points of emphasis for you guys coming into 26?
Yeah, I think, we were very proud of where we landed in College Football 25. It was a 10-year hiatus. We had this mantra that we had one shot to make a second first impression. And while we were proud of the game, and it was amazing to see the public reaction there, we knew that we had a lot of unfinished business. We left a lot of meat on the bone as we finished that game. And really, this year was all about finishing what we wanted to start. You look at things that we had in terms of quality of life improvements in Dynasty mode, as an example. A lot of the high school moments, or the recruiting experience in Road to Glory. We looked at pieces on gameplay that we weren't able to get to, just around the physics-based tackling, as an example. That was not ready last year when we launched. So it was really just going out and taking what we had and that success that we had and just one-upping that, polishing it, and just really making an amazing experience that not only we want users to play, but we are sickos. We are people that we were all making fun of each other in the office. We're spending 500, 600, 700 hours on our Dynasty modes alone. And that was kind of the badge of honor within our dev team. So when we looked at it, it was just, what are those things that we want our users to be able to experience, but what do we want to experience as fans as well?
Coming into this, obviously, you mentioned some of the depth and some of those other things. There's pretty obvious fixes you wanted to make in the game. What is the pressure of kind of managing and balancing that line of fixing something that has been a problem in the past, or you want to go deeper, versus just changing something to make it different?
I wouldn't say pressure, but I think it's high expectations. I think this is a team that has very high expectations, because we take our core tenet as a team culture very seriously, which is this is their game. This is not our game. This is not my game. This is their game. It's everybody's game. It's your game, Chris. It's your game, David. And so it is. There's a lot of responsibility there, right? We need to be able to look at the product. We need to be able to look at it, audit it, understand what do our fans want? What are they asking for? There's a great responsibility there. I think something hit me a long time ago. I didn't come up from the game industry. I was in a totally different industry and came over in 2011. And something hit me pretty hard where I ran into somebody at the old E3 trade show, which doesn't happen anymore. And they took me aside and said, hey, I got laid off from my job and I spent my last $60, $70 on your products. And I think it was at that moment that it really hit me like a ton of bricks. And I think it hits our team like a ton of bricks. It's like we have a responsibility to put something out that people can really engage with and enjoy. And, that goes into those decisions. Is there's certain things that we look at that we want to go bigger on, but until we feel like that foundation is where the foundation needs to be, we're not going to go attack those pieces. We look at everything in a 3-year time frame. We have 3-year roadmaps on every feature that we build. And so it is important for us to make sure that we're buttoning everything up, dotting those I's, crossing those T's before we move on to that next big piece.
Is there a specific feature in this game that you guys are most happy to see reality, like those changes that you mentioned?
Yeah, this one's a little bit nerdy for me. I've always been a super big time of day, kind of jerseys and the look and sort of the vibe and the feel. I mean, Chris, there's nothing like November in East Lansing, Michigan. It's gray, it's wet, it's disgusting, but it is college football. It's something that we love. There's nothing better than that. And I was really, really proud of the work that the team put in around the dynamic time of day this year. It was a situation where we challenged the team. We set a goal of how do we make time of day, but how do we make time of day in a way that college football fans will appreciate. And what does that mean? It's not just like you see in other sports games where you change from a 3:30 lighting to 4:30, 5:30 as the game moves on. But college football is so unique in that you've got these regional color palettes and these regional lighting palettes based on the time of year. Can we accomplish that? And the team was able to accomplish that. And it really just blew my mind. I mean, you go into the game right now, I think it was really early in the dev cycle. It's probably like February. We were just going into alpha. And I was playing a game at Autzen at 6 o'clock at night. And I think it was in October and the sun was coming over. I forget south end zone.
I did that. I literally did that yesterday. And the first quarter at Autzen at that time of year sucks. The lighting is tough, but it gets better as the game goes on.
Yeah, and it was just it was one of those moments where we're wearing the chrome lids, and I'm watching it. I'm like, whoa, like that is a definite visual upgrade. So I think we're really proud of that. I think the team too is really proud of just a lot of the gameplay nuances that went in. You know, Scott O'Gallagher, our creative director over there, Clint Oldenburg, all of our team there, amazing, passionate people. You know, things like the quarterback vision, where depending on the height of your quarterback is going to. Apologies real quick. Let me
you're good.
Hang that up.
I'll just say here, by the way, David Ubben, not a big fan of dynamic lighting for the record.
Not true. Not true.
So far, I keep playing games at 6 o'clock when I do a custom game because I want to go from day game to night game through that process. I like it. So, but you're talking about the gameplay.
Yeah. So from the gameplay, I think one of the cooler ones is that the quarterback vision and where height actually matters this year. It's not like the old quarterback vision cone, but understanding that shorter quarterbacks may have a harder time seeing over that line. Mm-hmm. And so therefore you've got to get the cleaner pockets. It's going to impact how you're using the passing. If you're pinging your meter into the orange versus into the green, there's like a lot of nuanced, polished, refined pieces, from the run game, the run fits, the stunts and twists. I think that's one that we're all super excited about as well. Just furthering that chess match on the sticks. That's one of our big goals. We want you to be able to go in there and feel as if you're not just playing the computer or playing AI, but you're actually using core football fundamentals to play that chess match.
Yeah, when I was doing Road to Glory, my quarterback a couple times hit the offensive line dummy while doing the passing drill because I guess I wasn't tall enough. So it was annoying, but I guess it is realistic. Dave, let me get one in quick. Dynasty mode. So I've been doing Dynasty mode. The portal and the coaching carousel are out of control early on, which I know is kind of by design. Some people might like it, some people might not. I had a situation where the computer Shane Beamer took the Clemson job en route to winning the national championship in South Carolina, which on one hand is extremely funny, but on the other hand is obviously not as realistic. I know transfers, a much more active portal that is very customizable. You can change the max number of transfers. What's the process of kind of trying to open something like that up, but try not to open it up too much or kind of adjusting? Because I had a couple of top 10 coaches like take other jobs, and that obviously wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's something that we tune, and it's obviously something too, Chris, that we want as much feedback on as possible. It's great that this game is fully launching worldwide today so that we can get that feedback across the board. We take the feedback very seriously. One of our big core mantras as well is we listen. We are scouring under the covers there on Reddit, on X, various Facebook posts. They don't know who we are, thankfully, but we're kind of finding it out. But it is challenging, right? There's so many different systems at play there. And I think there's so many different expectations of reality, especially in college football. A great one that we talk about often was we were going through and we were tuning the logic for the playoff last year. And it was the first time the playoff had ever happened. And we were getting semi-unrealistic results. And then all of a sudden, in real life, Indiana ends up going to the playoff. And it was one of those situations where had you told us in June, hey, Indiana's making it to the playoff in your game, we'd be like, that's bugged. Let's add logic there based on the prestige, whatever that may be. But to your point on the coaching carousel, that is one that we're looking at heavily right now. We've been getting a lot of internal feedback. Some people feel like we're getting a little bit too much movement. Other people are saying you're not getting enough movement. So again, kind of a constant churn there. In terms of the portal itself, though, that was a big one for us. We went into last year, and I think we all walked out at 25 and just felt like the portal experience was not as volatile as it is in real life. And how do you? Our big core tenet is we want to make sure that everything in our game, there's some real stakes. There's some real meaningful decision behind it. So you trying to talk a kid into staying, or you recruiting a 5-star but then not playing the 5-star. There should be some give and take there that's kind of going through your head. The portal for us this year was one where we wanted to get about 2,000 players in the portal, and we wanted to get that to be sustained probably over the 30 years of your dynasty. We didn't want to have like 2,000, then all of a sudden it dwindled like last year down to like I think 200 or 100 after about 8 years of dynasty mode. So we I think skewed a little bit higher, and we're seeing a lot of the feedback out there. Some people love it, some people are really kind of bothered by it. But what was beautiful about it is our team went in and they added the user sliders.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give users control, since we knew it was going to be such a hot button topic of, listen, you can go in there, determine how many CPU players transfer, how many user players transfer. Do you want mass chaos? Do you want 4,000 players in the portal? Do you want 1,000 players in the portal? It's really on you as a user. And what's been fun to watch is a lot of the feedback out there is people are in those heated debates on the forums right now. Like, this is the number. I want you to take the slider to 15. No, take it to 25. And so I think through the community sourcing, we want users to be able to create. We want users to be able to make their experiences. They're going to go out there. They're going to determine what the best is, propagate it out there. For you, Chris, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 25 for you, David. So we want to give you all the tools possible as we move forward in this dynasty sandbox to create that experience that you want.
Mm-hmm. I got to say, talking about Indiana making the playoff is a bug. You sound like Greg Sankey, Christian, I got to say. Road to Glory mode this year, obviously the partial mode kind of fixated on moments. Why do that instead of like playing the 4 or 5 games that you had in 14, which I remember? I guess I didn't realize it was sort of polarizing at the time, but what went into that decision making?
Yeah, it was a big one. We looked at what 14 was. We have data, we are very data driven, data informed rather. And we wanted to make sure that first and foremost, even before you got to a high school experience, that we really tried to pay off the recruiting experience. We felt like in year one, Road to Glory was about living the life of a college athlete. Okay, we talked, the meters and the leadership and the academics and the scenarios and Audrey and all that fun stuff. So year 2 was about, how do you make me feel like I'm being recruited? How do I have the real stake in the game here? Oregon Trail is a big influence of ours. Is we love that game because even if you feel like you're making all the correct decisions, I'm a banker from Boston, I've got this many oxen, I'm going to ford the river, I can still capsize and somebody could die of dysentery or snake bite or whatever that is. So it was important for us to make sure that we put this recruiting experience in there where I felt like coaches were contacting us. You felt like you were making some meaningful decisions. You had some stakes in the game, but also our big one was ensuring that you were part of an actual recruiting class. It wasn't a situation where I'm going to go in there and compete with Bryce Underwood at Michigan, as an example. Like, Bryce Underwood's going to be a sophomore. This is actually happening while Bryce Underwood is in his freshman year. And so with that being the number one goal, and with the other goal being, we didn't want to have users be in this mode for hours upon hours, because we do find that our players love playing Road to Glory. It's a real 8 to 10 hour experience that they then go back and replay and then replay and then replay. So we got together and, instead of going full high school, we really felt like, let's try to figure out a way to make a quick 45-minute to an hour experience where you're getting that taste of being recruited, where you're getting those meaningful moments on the sticks, and then, get into college and kind of, deal with the coach happiness and see all those other pieces. So it's definitely, something that we're again monitoring, we're looking at as we move forward in the future. We know people love high school, but we really, again, at the end of the day, want to make sure that our goal is all about that fast to fun experience in that mode specifically. And the last thing we want to do is we don't, to your point, David, 14 was a bit polarizing. Having worked on that, a lot of people loved it, but actually a lot of people didn't engage in the full 8 to 12 game high school experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did.
I didn't love high school mode back then.
I loved it. I didn't realize people didn't like it.
The new one kind of feels geared toward me.
Yeah, and I think a big reason for that was a bit of maybe what you were feeling, Chris, which was, I just want to go to college, right? I want to I don't want to be spending hours upon hours grinding through this high school experience. So, I think it's something, I love it that both you guys are coming from different, aspects, because that's what we're really looking for. We're looking for the feedback. Yeah. We're trying to see how this is gonna go over. We're really proud of it. We're excited about it. But again, in the future, nothing's really off the table. It's just more, what is the data going to show us, and how are users engaging in it?
Mm-hmm. I'm a big custom playbook guy. Love the scheme, and I'm also a pretty big online guy. I like online. I like Dynasty, and I like Road to Glory. What was the decision to say, hey, like we're not going to allow custom playbooks online unless it's like your friendly game or in your crossplay Dynasty?
Yeah, so this is another one that spurred some pretty intense debates internally. The way that we look at it is, we feel like Road to the College Football Playoff is a mode where we want to celebrate those schools. We want people to go in there and actually master. When we talk about 136 ways to play, we want to showcase that. And so what we want to avoid there is finding certain teams with certain personnel that if you throw them into a certain scheme, all of a sudden become the new meta, versus it being about the actual schools. Like, we want to challenge users to take a tier 5 school like an Army and go run triple option and go into Bryant-Denny and win that game with the home field advantage and all, right? Like, that to us is the ultimate piece of competition there. It's not necessarily changing around the playbooks and the schemes and the formations the way that you want. It's like, this is a true mode where it's true balance, right? There is no real exploit in terms of, I can, last year we had the Jalen Milroe. Everybody used Alabama as an example, right? But everybody also loved using Air Force's playbook. We don't want people taking Jalen Milroe, putting him in Air Force's playbook, and then all of a sudden breaking the experience. So that was really where we come at it from. Again, we've heard it loud and clear, but we want to make sure that it is that truly balanced arena that users can go into and really just celebrate their schools as well. And I was one on the line of initially wanting the playbook change as well. And I think the more we talked about it as the team, the more I fell into the camp of I understand it, right? That balance is there. Definitely something like we can look at in the future, of course. But you do have Ultimate Team, you do have, to your point, your online dynasties, you do have your Play a Friend there to do that. But yeah, there's something about those videos that keep coming out about certain people taking a Louisiana Tech as an example and winning a national championship with them in that mode. That's really kind of special at the end of the day. Like, you can't replicate that in any other sport than college football.
So what do you guys do now post-launch? Obviously, glitches pop up. Some of us experience them. What are you guys doing after the game is released?
Yeah, so our team is monitoring, right? We are always monitoring. We are scouring. We're figuring out where the bugs might lie, getting those fixed. But we're also thinking about the future. That's a big thing for us. We joke internally a lot of, there really is no downtime for us, because even before we're shipping the product, in that year, we're thinking about what next year's about. We're thinking about what the following year's about. We're trying to get our ducks in a row, our designs together to ensure that we're hitting the ground running. I think the beauty and the curse of a iterative sports title is that you have a finite window of development. It's not like we're building a Halo or a Mass Effect or one of these games 3, 4, 5 years in development. We have an 8 to 10 month dev cycle where we need to have our ducks in a row and be able to hit the ground running. Everybody take a vacation real quick, come on back, and we're rocking and rolling. Because again, there's a lot in 26 that we are super proud of, but there's also a lot that we look back on and we say, we got to improve this, and this. Not going to spoil anything right now, but that's what we're thinking through at this moment. So honestly, after this meeting, I've got meetings about the future and grinding on some of that stuff. So,
Christian, we want to thank you for coming on the show. We want to leave you with one quick question. For Christmas a couple years ago, my wife bought a kitchen for my daughter with no regard for how difficult it was going to be to build it. I want to offer a similar challenge to you to leave us with. There's a feature that you could have in the game, a dream, and you don't have to think about actually doing it. What would you like to have?
Oh boy. That is a great question, David. I don't want to say anything because I'm a big believer in, and I mean this in all sincerity. We're able to build anything, right? It all comes down to, at the end of the day, capacity. It comes down to cost. It comes down to user, sentiment. Something that I've always loved, and I'll throw it out here, and this is not any, future thing, but maybe we've thought about it and talked about it, is I've always been a big fan ever since I was growing up as a kid playing Bill Walsh of a concept of like a dynamic rivalry feature. I don't know if you all play your dynasties. There's always a team or two that you play through in your dynasty where all of a sudden you just feel like there's some bad blood there, right? It's a situation where they're playing you a little bit tougher. And you're not quite sure why. I was UTEP, and I had this whole UTEP Boise State thing last year in College Football 25 as an example. And we just went at it. Every game we played was amazing. And so I would love to see, the ability to create this dynasty rivalry trophy between UTEP and Boise State as an example, and track all that information and have that dynamic rivalry feature. So
look, I mean, Bob Diaco tried that in real life.
That's
with
what I was thinking. Civil
conflict.
conflict.
So that is pretty realistic.
Which is in our game, by the way. If you need
yes,
to civil conflict, it is in the game in the trophy room. So
yes, it is. Shout out to Eric DeSalvo at UCF, who currently has that trophy. I wrote a story about it on The Athletic a couple years ago. So, all right, Christian McLeod, production director for EA Sports College Football. Thank you very much for the time.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. Thanks again to Christian McLeod for joining the show. I met him last year, and it's crazy that we grew up very, very close to each other. Small world, this whole thing.
Like, these guys are busy. They have jobs. They can't talk to us forever. They have schedules. I think I could have done 3 hours on that interview, just like talking. Like, we could have gone forever on this game. Again, I'm in the 0.001 percentile of people in terms of their pure love of this game. This is just what I grew up with. My life has obviously changed since, 2002 or 2003 when I'm in high school, but I still love it just as much. I've just been busy. And I found myself like having 30 more questions that I would have liked to have asked him. But, people have time and schedules and all that stuff. But hey, Christian, you ever want to come on the show for like 4 or 5 hours, hit us up.
Yeah, I thought it was good insight. I thought, like, in terms of how much they know the problems that people are talking about, like, they hear that. The complaints on Twitter, the complaints on Reddit, all that stuff, the glitches, trying to fix that. Like, they are trying to fix it and make it better.
It's kind of weird, like, so for us, right? Our jobs, journalism, you should be kind of aware of what people think about what you've done, but you shouldn't pay too much attention to it. It can do some weird things to you mentally. If you're like on reality TV, you need to not pay any attention to social media. You need to not know anything about.
If you're on reality TV, you make your living off of social media. You didn't watch Love Island this year.
No, I didn't. But in general, if you are paying super close attention to whatever they're saying about you on your social media, you're probably not helping yourself mentally. You work on this product, you have to see everything that everybody's saying because it will help you improve the product. That is probably messing you up, but I appreciate that they, don't have their heads in the sand, in part because they have to, but they don't actually sort of have to. But in the era of patches and updates and all the stuff that were not in the game that I grew up playing, I'm glad that they do that and they're able to fix things on the fly and change things on the fly.
Yeah, but like we mentioned earlier in the show and in the interview, like, there's not that many like major changes I would make to the game. And that's why it's going to become interesting in future years, because like there were again some major holes in 25. They have filled those now. How much can you really change without kind of upending the whole thing? I don't know. And that'll be interesting. I mean, Ben Howmiller, who we talked to on the show from EA Sports, the director of the game, him and Christian said the same too. Like, that we have so many ideas we want to get into the game still. So I don't know.
NAIA mode, baby. NAIA. Start as an NAIA coach and work your way up.
Well, I mean, FCS teams maybe, but also like salary caps, paying players, like whatever college football, if it eventually ever settles into something, that would eventually be a big part of the game too as well. So they're constantly adjusting it based on whatever happens in real life. So we will see. But Dave, anything else left on the game? Should we go play another one, you and me? You can boat race.
Maybe. We'll have to see. I'm excited to dig into this game. I'm excited for so generally, like, we have 2 cross-play Dynasty leagues we're probably going to play in. People are kind of giving people a little bit of time to kind of play the game and kind of just know what they're doing for a little bit. So I'm excited for those to start and have that experience, because I had like with some of my college friends, basically an online dynasty with like 4 or 5 of us on Madden for a couple of years, and it was really fun. And we would like stream the games on Twitch. Nobody cared, but we would be watching them because we kind of cared what was happening. And I'm excited. That was something that was just not a part of last year's game that I've had a lot of fun with in the past. I'm looking forward to using, and we'll probably check in on that as we check in on the game.
Yeah, we've looked into trying to stream some of our games. We're still working on that technology, I guess, and how to do it. But again, when we get into football season, like finding the time is tough.
It's tough.
We're ramping up to the season. We're going to have a lot more on this feed coming up leading into the season. If you listen to Until Saturday or have a friend who did and they don't know about the show, please tell them.
Let them know.
I continue to get messages from people who are like, "Oh, good to see this," because they didn't know. Like, we started this on our own, separate from the Athletic, so it's just Dave and me, and word of mouth is pretty much the whole thing right now. So we're kind of doing a soft relaunch kind of promotion as we get closer to the season. So please tell anybody about it. Please give us a 5-star review if you haven't yet. We will read it on the show, and that'll do it here. Football's coming up, Dave. You're going to be in Charlotte for ACC and AAC media days. So we'll have that to talk about, Big Ten, and a whole lot more on the next episode. So for David Ubben, I'm Chris Vannini. We will see you in the next one.
And bring back the turnover chain, Mario. And get in the game. Come on.